Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable David Chair for 5.5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, on Thursday, Con Air arrives, a flight that is chartered by the Australians that is arriving here with 20 people who have just been released, and they will arrive here, and we hope that the legislation that is going through urgency here will be in place for the arrival of that plane. Now, sir, that is a disgrace when this government knew in last year, on the 14th of December, that Australia had changed its laws. And that minister over there received on the 12th of February a memo from her ministry that said that the numbers of offenders being deported to New Zealand from Australia is likely to increase significantly as a result of recent changes to Australian law, that some deported offenders who have been convicted of very serious offences may pose a significant risk to the New Zealand community, and that offenders born in New Zealand who have lived most of their lives overseas are likely to face additional challenges reintegrating into the community and avoiding reoffending. Sir, that is a disgrace. That was in February this year, and here we are with 2 weeks of Parliament to go, and we're ramming through a piece of legislation that should have been written months ago. In the meantime, sir, there have been dozens of people who have already come back. Some of those have come back on charter flights chartered by the Australian government, who are too worried to put those people on commercial flights and instead are putting them on charter flights. And as the Minister herself has acknowledged, although some of those people are there for relatively minor offences, they include people who have been convicted of murder, of manslaughter, of rape and of paedophilia, sir. And we have no checks and no ability to stop those people when they arrive, and they will disappear into New Zealand. The police themselves, sir, say that 43% of those people that arrive need to be on some sort of supervision list. 43%. And sir, last week we have the audacity of the Prime Minister, who stood up here in an extraordinary outrage, said that the national government, was protecting New Zealanders. Can you imagine what he should be saying now? He should be apologising to New Zealanders that they had nothing in place for those people that have arrived back. Nothing in place. He should be apologising now, sir, for not making the preparations, for not standing up to the Australians, for not saying to Mr Turnbull that instead of having some sort of love fest, that, sir, that nobody coming back into New Zealand can come back unless they give the details of what they were convicted for. Because right now, sir, as we know, that the Australian authorities are not giving us those details that we are seeking from them. So we actually don't know who's coming through to New Zealand. We don't know what crimes they've committed and what risks they might be to New Zealand. And instead of Mr Key saying that have a wonderful relationship with Australia, yes, we might have a great relationship with Australia, but at the end of the day, that relationship should serve to further our interests. And this is certainly not in our interests when they will not in any way cooperate with us in giving us the information about returning criminals to New Zealand. Sir, if we had just some sense of cojones in that government, we should at least say to the Australians.
Order. That's a term that has been ruled out previously. The member will withdraw it.
I withdraw that, sir. Sir, if this government had any sort of moral standing, they would have said to the Australians, you don't tell us who's coming, we don't let you land. It's as simple as that. Sir, I believe that we are in a serious situation where the government has been telling us all along that they're standing up for our protections and our freedoms. They are certainly not. They're not standing up for us when it comes to New Zealanders coming back here with criminal convictions and no legislation and no no procedures in place to receive them. And they're not standing up for those New Zealanders who have been wrongly detained in Australia by Australian authorities after having done their time. That too, sir, is a right which should not be taken away from anybody. And that government, sir, that government is absolutely shameless, and it should be ashamed of itself of the way that it's actually treated New Zealanders.